Good morning. Welcome to the Inside Job podcast, Healed Inside Out. This morning we have Ms. Dana Salter. She's going to be talking about healing and marriage. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning. How are you
I'm so
doing?
glad to be here.
Yes. We're out here in Colorado, and the weather done tricked us.
Yes, it has.
You to think that it was December.
Really?
So, this morning, Dana, I asked you to come on because after we hooked back up, I've known Dana for some years now, and we ran into each other. I was asking you how you were doing and what was going on in your life, and you were sharing with me that you were getting back with your husband, that
Yes.
you guys are coming back together and remarrying. And I thought, what a perfect conversation to have when you're talking about healing, because we need healing in our marriage too.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
So, what a better time for us to run into each other.
Amen.
And so I welcome you on. So let's talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where you want to start? It's a long story.
Look, let's start with that. So first of all, one thing that I also got when we had our conversation, and because we know each other through the church, and so I'm not short on praise.
Amen.
And so when I hear of a reconciliation of something, you give God the glory for everything,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
so I was excited about it. But one thing I thought about when I got in the car and I was driving home, the song that came to my heart then and comes to my heart right now is "He is Faithful."
Oh, yeah.
And so
yeah.
I was in the car and I was just like, oh man, I should call her. And I didn't want to seem like I was being creepy.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Or whatever, but he is faithful.
He is extreme, and he blows your mind. I mean, it's just
Absolutely.
mind. There's no way, when we were going through everything we were going through and it was done and over with, I was healing, and there's no way I ever thought that I would be back with this man. I'm like,
Wow.
I mean, I used to always say, Jesus, you would have to come down, sit next to me,
Yeah.
and say, that's the one, and I'm still gonna argue with you.
Right.
So the fact that God is faithful, he told me, when he and I got together, that was your husband, and he
Okay.
told him that's your wife,
Okay.
but we both. We weren't ready. We weren't ready. I was going through a divorce when a
wow.
week later I was married to him.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You missed the healing part.
Yes. I skipped over a whole bunch of stuff, but I was trying to fill a void.
Oh,
I was trying to fill a void, and God, oh man, just got the tremendous. It's not even describable. It's hard to describe the way God healed both of us, because he was going through his stuff.
individually.
Yeah.
Right. And then together.
Yeah.
So how long were you guys married?
We were
the first time.
actually married 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Well, I was married 4 years.
Oh.
He was not married.
He was in a situation.
Yes.
Them things.
Yes.
Okay.
So we were married. Like I said, we got married like a week after my divorce from my first husband, and we were not supposed to be married at that time.
Okay.
But like I said, I was trying to fill a void. I was using him for my own reasons. He was using me. Yeah. He was using me for his own reasons,
Okay.
And so we were married 4 years, but we were actually physically living together maybe a year. If
Before.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
So no, not living together. I mean, as a married couple, we
Oh.
lived together for a year. Found out, he was not faithful in the marriage.
Okay.
And never had been. And I kicked
that
him to the
hurts.
curb. But we were still, pretty much. We were still talking. Because I moved to Atlanta,
Okay.
and he's calling. I'm coming to Atlanta, so I'm preparing for my husband to come, not knowing he's living with another woman.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. So, forgive me if this comes off different.
I'm very transparent. So
Okay.
don't.
If y'all got married a year after your divorce, were you dealing
Not
with
even
him?
a year, a week after.
A week after your divorce.
Yes.
Were you dealing with him while you were going through your separation from your first
Yeah,
marriage?
so no, that's the thing.
Okay.
That's what's crazy. So, my first marriage, we had separated, and we were finally, I was under the religious belief that you can't divorce, that God hates divorce, and He does,
And He does.
He does, but I couldn't get over, so I stayed in an abusive relationship for 10 years because
He's not for that though,
because
either.
because God hates divorce.
Right.
Well, when God finally released me from that marriage, and He released me, I prayed about it and He released me.
Amen.
And He released me from that marriage. I literally filed the paperwork, and then Vince and I we were going to church together.
Okay.
And we were on the prayer team together. I knew him. We were friends. He became my personal trainer.
Okay.
And then we just started date. We didn't even really date, but we just started messing around with each other.
For real.
Yeah. Keep it real. For real. We started messing around with each other, and like I said, it was such a whirlwind that I don't remember a lot of it.
Wow.
And I woke up one day and I was married to this man. I had moved, God moved me to a whole other state.
Wow.
And he came. He showed up on my doorstep, and I was like, we ain't living together. And next thing I know, a week later, we're married.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So inside of the marriage, there was infidelity on his part
Yes.
from the jump.
From the jump. He was in a whole other relationship and didn't tell me and didn't tell her. And so when he moved, he made up a story that he was going, because we moved to Alabama. And he said, he told her his mom lived in Alabama.
Okay.
That he was going to take care of his sick mother, who was not sick.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's dirty too.
Yeah, it was dirty. It was dirty. But I didn't find, it was weird because an ex-girlfriend, another one of his exes, she called me.
Oh.
And she warned me, that he's a player. And she sent me recordings of conversations between the two of them. But I was so blinded by, I saw the flags, but I ignored them. I ignored them.
Blinded or not healed?
Not healed. Exactly. I wanted a man so bad, and I wanted to fill that void so bad that I was willing to put up with stupid.
Yeah. And I get that. A lot of times, unfortunately, we do that. We try to fill voids when we haven't even healed from what we're coming out of, or furthermore, haven't even healed from stuff that we had been through, in our childhood or whatever.
Exactly.
You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot have a successful relationship if you're broken.
Exactly.
And then when you have two broken people,
Exactly.
you're a hot mess.
Right.
And
you just got a bunch of shattered glass everywhere.
And it's probably not gonna, people stay together for years. Like you said, you stayed together for 10 years in a broken relationship. Yeah. Who wants to do that?
Yeah.
These days and times, I don't have time for that. I don't want to be living
patience.
in a broken space where I'm constantly recovering from something that you did or said to me.
Exactly.
Because you haven't gotten healed from something that you were going through.
Exactly.
Right? I don't want that.
Exactly.
And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So when you reach that point where it's like, this just isn't working, you have to have the courage to be able to walk out and walk away from it.
Yeah.
And then get the healing. That's awesome.
And it took some time for that. It took me a lot of time for that.
Yeah.
How long? God was so patient.
Yeah. How long would you say it took?
4 years.
Wow.
It took 4 years. I stayed in and, let this man convince me of this and that, was sending money, it was all because, I had two motives. Okay. I would say.
Talk about
one was the void filler. The void filler.
Okay.
The second was this man left me for a Caucasian woman. Or I booted him out and he went to the Caucasian woman.
Okay.
So I've never had a racist bone in my body. I grew up in
Okay.
California. My daughter is mixed.
Yes.
I've
Beautiful.
never had a racist bone in my body. But when I saw black men with a white woman,
Yeah. It triggered
it
something.
triggered something.
Yes.
So my second motive was I stayed in it because I'm not gonna let you win.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
this is mine.
Not today.
Not today. And that was and it was stupid. That was stupid.
Yeah.
You know, you can have him
Exactly.
because he ain't he ain't
Yeah.
about nothing.
Yes.
But I was so determined to win against her.
Yeah.
You know that
That you hurt yourself.
I hurt myself. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you called it off finally, or what happened with
So
that?
the Lord told me because He had moved back here to Colorado. I was in Atlanta.
Okay.
And the Lord told me you're going back. My parents were setting up a church here.
Okay.
And the Lord told me you're going back to Colorado to help your parents plant the church. And I was like, I will never go back to Colorado. I believed you
mad.
moved me because I honestly believe because she lived here. So I honestly believe that had I been in Colorado when all this was happening, I probably would have been in jail, literally. And so I believe God moved me from here because He knew,
Yeah.
and that's what
He knows
God
best.
is faithful. He knew, let me get her out of here. And because had this gone down while I was here, it wouldn't have been pretty. So He told me, your parents are planning a church and I want you to go help them plant the church. I'm not going back to Colorado, Father. I cannot. He's there. All of that is there. And I'm trying to, to get over that. You're going back to Colorado.
Yeah.
Job opened up.
Wow.
Someone literally called me, hey, I got a job offer in Colorado. I need you.
Wow.
And because when I moved to Atlanta after he and I split up, I lost my job. I was working for Lockheed Martin, got laid off. I'm like, Lord, what do I do now? I've lost my husband. I lost my job. What am I doing? What's going on? So there was
a dog.
yes, everything was just. And he told me to move to Atlanta and help my sister, which I did. And but I was so broken. Just so because I believed that I was in love. I believed this man loved me, and I believed he was my Boaz. People at church would be like, "Girl, you got your boy," and I was like, "I sure do. You can't have him."
Celebrating and dancing.
Yes, and on the inside, he was ugly. He was not Boaz. And so I was so broken. I remember when I found out that he was living with this woman and still calling me and telling me how much he loved me and he wanted his wife back and blah blah blah. And I remember I was in bed for a week. I could not get out of the bed. I was almost suicidal.
Wow.
I had shot up to 320 pounds. Wow. I was eating myself to oblivion. It was just I was so broken. And I remember laying in bed and the voice of the Spirit said to me, do you remember when you prayed and you asked for my heart? And I was like, yeah, I remember.
Right. What attitude?
Yeah. And he said, that pain you're feeling, I feel that every day.
Jesus.
Now get up out that bed.
Wow.
And he was like, I'm ready to heal you when you're ready to walk in it. And I was like, God, it broke me because I started imagining, oh my God, if you're feeling, if I'm feeling what I'm feeling, now you got multiple hurts. So, and I'm like, and you're able to get up and be God every day. He doesn't wash his hands of us. And so I had to get up out that bed and say, okay, God, I'm ready for you to heal me, not just from this marriage, but from my first marriage and even from my childhood stuff, dealing with relationships and dealing not only marriage relationships, but family or boyfriends, girlfriend, I've never felt I was pretty enough or so I did things to get men's attention.
Oh, wow.
So here's this man who's gorgeous and, he's built and I'm like, he's paying attention to me.
Right.
So again, the red flags.
Yeah. Some of your own red flags, though. You had some red flags too. That
I did.
that you just didn't heed to. You painted him green. Got
I
your
did.
little paintbrush with some
I sure
paint.
did. Some wallpaper. Yeah.
Painted them red, then things green or black and white. Like, go.
Yes.
When they was bright as these
They was
hearts on this table.
Truly.
Wow.
Truly.
Wow.
When you
wow,
have
wow.
a woman, and then, you know, a woman, she actually came up to the church, talked to pastor about him.
Wait, hold up.
Yes.
Hold up. The
ex-girlfriend, the one that called me and told me about him.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Was that to get to you, to tell you, so that it came from your pastor, or was that being messy?
I think it was both, a little bit of both. I think she was hurt because he had hurt her.
Okay.
You know, hurt people.
Yes.
so I
did
think
he hurt her and come to you? Were you the
no, he
joint?
hurt her.
Okay.
The same woman that he was messing with me.
Oh,
he hurt her with this
with
same
that
woman. And so she
Yeah.
another Caucasian woman, and you know she was after him. She was going to destroy anything he was trying.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I saw in my mind when she called me. I'm like, you know, ex-girlfriend, you know, she just scorned a woman scorned. She after, you know, until I became the woman scorned.
Talk about it, man. That's not a loving place to be.
Yeah.
Because you do want to destroy.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
and so when I found out his daughter died.
Oh.
And I was supposed to come back here for the funeral, and I decided, no, I'm not going to come. And he's telling me all kind of lies. And apparently at the funeral, his sister tells me that the woman is there, the kids are there. And I had written a letter for the sister to read for his daughter from me. And so they were like, well, the kids didn't know. And so they're like, who is Dana? And these are adult kids.
Wow.
And they're like, who is Dana? Did they mean Diana? That was her name. And so so then I said, oh, y'all don't know about me, huh? I'm going to let you know who I am. So I went on Facebook in the messenger. I sent all of her kids and her all of his text messages that he had been sending me about how much he loved me and wanted his wife back, and he wasn't in love with her. He was just doing this and this, and I sent it all.
That was messy, Dana.
It was.
That was messy and a
you know
result
what?
of being broken and unhealed.
It felt good, though. I'm not going to lie. It felt good.
But you know God was mad at you for that.
He was, and I had to repent. I had to repent. I did go before the Father, but it felt, you know what? I felt like I was exposing the lies, because he had lied to her, he had lied to me, he had lied to her children, he had lied to mine, you know, so I felt I was exposing him, but I did it in a very messy way. It was very messy, and I did not wait for the Lord, you know.
Yes. Because he may have instructed you a way to expose it without it being, you know, because then now that hurts those kids who ain't got nothing to do with it. So now, you know, now they got to heal from, you know, you coming at them like that.
And not realizing that their mother is messing with the married man, you know.
Yes.
They had to deal with all of that. And so the backlash of that was not pretty. It was not pretty, but I'm telling you, I felt better. I'm not gonna lie. I did. And it was bad, but I felt better. But I felt better. But now here's how God works. About a year later, I had an opportunity to speak to this woman again. And I literally apologized.
Amen.
I said, you know, and I told her, I said, I was coming from a hurt place. And what I did to you and your children was not right. And I ask that you forgive me for that. Now, we will never be friends.
That's right.
But I ask that you forgive me for what I did, the things I said, and I'm done with it.
Yeah, that's good.
She never responded. She never, you know, and that's fine.
Yeah,
but I did what the Lord told me to do. When he opened that opportunity up for me to do that, I did take that and I ran with it.
That's good, because, you know, forgiveness, as you know, is not just, it's for yourself.
Exactly.
So you got that healing by, one, being obedient, two, acknowledging, owning your mess, and then just apologizing, you know.
And I felt better,
Yeah.
even better,
Right.
after that, So,
So
it
your
was,
dance was a little different
Yeah.
than when you
Like-
was calling them out.
yeah, when I got my revenge. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, Father.
Oh,
But
wow.
even through all of that, the Lord loved on me, and I could feel His presence in my life. The favor on my life never
Yes.
decreased.
Yeah.
Even in my mess, He still was healing that
Yes.
broken and that void. He was
yeah.
filling it.
Oh yeah, yeah. He'll still love on us even in correction. When He's correcting us, even when we're still broken, we're still loved.
Yeah.
And there's still favor.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was-
you don't come from you come from a family where the cloth is thick in the Lord.
exactly.
So if you thought that your mama and your daddy weren't on their face,
Right.
and despite you grown and you're gonna make the choices and decisions that you're gonna do on your own, but that don't mean that they wasn't covering you and praying for you and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So we're gonna back up a little bit to okay. So he has some infidelity going on. You called it off after how long?
It was about a year, even
Okay.
though I knew.
So you kept it you kept going. And why?
Because he kept making promises to me, and the lies. He was a liar, and he kept making these false promises, and I kept believing the promises, even knowing the
Even
Spirit
knowing, see.
would tell me. And
And
I
see,
would.
that's the part about being broken and unhealed, because you know and you still choose to do it. What in you allowed you to stay in something that you knew was all jacked up, unhealed,
Broken.
and brokenness?
And again, literally, we were in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. We would walk into a restaurant or something, and people would stop and stare at us like we were celebrities because, one, I believe, he was very handsome. He had this body, and he was a bodybuilder, and so he's big, and they ain't seen. They're like, y'all not from around here, and so that prestige, and it was like, yeah, he's good looking.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Me driving a Mercedes and
She
there's some
don't-
lemon.
Hello. Literally.
Look good on the outside. Just toe up ugly on the inside.
Inside. Yeah. And I just wanted that. It just felt good to have a man. Even though my man ain't right. He doing some, and I was like, well, she don't live here, so it don't matter. But his heart was with her. It wasn't with me.
Yeah. And you knew that.
Yeah. And I wanted to win.
So what finally made you say, okay, I'm just a doorknob right here?
Yeah. So it was New Year's 2015, I think it was. And I told him, go get some apple cider. We can, bring in the new year together. We're going to start clean. And while he was gone, I was paying the phone bill. His phone was under mine. So I kept seeing this local number being called.
Yeah.
And it's late at night. And I'm like, now that ain't her number.
Right.
So I called the number. It was a woman. And so when and I left her a message because she didn't answer. When he got back from the store, I said, whose number is this? And he said, oh, that's that new client, because he was doing personal training. That's that new client I was telling you about. I said, but why are you calling her at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
Well, no, it ain't like that. I said, well, I called and left her a message. So when she calls me back, what is she going to tell me? And then he came clean. Well, I told her I was about to go through a divorce and, me and my wife aren't working out. I said, well, no truer words could have been spoken. I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. You pack your stuff. I put him on a bus and put him back and sent him back to Colorado. I was done.
Wow.
I was done.
Wow.
I'm doing all of it. You know, I've dealt with the ex-girlfriend calling me and sending me messages, and I'm dealing with you talking to another woman on the phone. Now now it's local.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm done. Bro, I'm done.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's hurtful to find out that way.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather you hurt me with the truth than me find out something you've been lying about. Like, for me, I don't know about you or anybody else, but for me, that hurt different.
Yeah, it does. It
that
really
hurts a little more. It's like,
right,
you know,
right.
That crap hurts.
It really
Stop doing
does.
that.
I remember our pastor in Alabama, though, told me, he's like, you know, if you ever wanted to be a private investigator, I think you'd be really good at it.
Well, a lot of us would be.
Yes.
A lot of us would be.
Yes, because I would tell him, because we worked together, my pastor and I.
Okay.
So I would tell him what was going on, and, you know, he's trying to counsel him, and he's like, wait, you found out what? How'd you find that out? You know, I was like, well, this is what I did, pastor. He was like, wow, you should start a personal investigation.
Look, a hurt person will
I'm
dig.
telling you. And I won't stop.
Dig. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very tenacious.
Man, that could be a blessing and a curse, right?
It really is.
Depending on who you're dealing with.
It really is.
Yeah. So, okay, so that all happened. And now you guys are back together. How did that happen?
So, like I said, the Lord moved me back here, and because I was still, you know, close with his son. His son and I are like this.
Okay.
And I told his son, you know, I'm coming back to Colorado. Please don't tell your dad, you know, but I am coming back. I'd love to see you. But when I got back, he called me and he said he was telling me there were some issues with his family, a couple of family members.
Okay.
And I think his brother had died, or no, his mother was dying. His mother was dying.
Okay. And
he called me and we started talking, and every day we were talking. Now, here's how the Lord works. You know, he's with this woman. He's, you know, driving a Mercedes. He's, you know, he's living the good life. And I'm just, you know what? I'm healed. Not all the way, but I'm going through my healing and I'm feeling good about myself. Like I said, I'd gotten up to 328 pounds. So I'm like, I'm starting to lose weight, and I'm starting to look at myself in the mirror and say, you know, girl, you come on now, you know? Yeah. And so, and I'm not paying attention to what he's doing. Yeah. I'm done with it. Yeah. And so he's got, you know, they're living in Highlands Ranch in this nice house and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whatever, good for you, you know? And it was like a storm. The Lord said, watch. And everything he had, gone, car, house, girl.
What?
He was homeless, literally homeless, homeless.
Wow.
God broke him down. I mean, just broke him down. And he called me crying like, I have nowhere. His family wouldn't help him. The girl wouldn't help him. Nobody. Now, they're still in a relationship, but she don't want him living with her. Broke him down. And and it was me he had to come to.
Watch the bridges you burn, because sometimes you do have to go back to one of them folks that you done burnt up.
Yeah. And what you want me to do though? I'm like, I'm over this. You know?
Congratulations.
Right. I'm so sorry that you're going through that. Yeah. But that's how we ended up talking again. Okay. And me, like, I didn't help him because I'm like, you a grown man. I ain't got nothing for you, bro. And so, but I had a compassion, and the love I had for him, it never ceased. It was like, because when I married him and I told God that, you know, if this is what you have for me, I want to love him with the love you have for him. And it never, no matter what he did, I could not stop loving. I'm like, I don't want it anymore. You know, take it away. You know, but that compassion that God has for us, it was like he gave me a measure of that for this man.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's a love that's hard for some folks to understand. Yeah, I understand it because I have that same love and compassion in within me. So I get it. So when I hear, I'm like, to me, it ain't nothing. But I recognize and understand that's a difficult kind of love for some people to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. And my family didn't understand it.
Yeah.
My friends, no one. And that's why I always say, this is no ordinary love, y'all. This is and not forget that song. This is
Right.
really no ordinary love because it
Yeah.
comes from the throne room.
Yes.
And I couldn't, I didn't want it, but it was
Yeah.
there. I didn't.
Take this back. You got the wrong one.
Right. I
Took
was
off
like,
this shirt.
he hurt me too much, God. How can I love him like that?
Yeah.
Even though he's hurt me more than anybody in my life ever has.
Yeah.
Come on, God. Really?
Yeah. So how did you trust that he actually got some individual healing? Was it just the breaking him down to his bare nothing?
It started with that.
Okay.
And that it shifted his thoughts, his whole outlook.
You think?
It shifted. Yeah. Then he started going to counseling. He started going to some spiritual counseling.
Okay.
And I started seeing a change in him that I had never seen. What should have probably been in our first marriage. Yeah. I started seeing some things about him. I wasn't just looking at the physical anymore. I was starting to see the spiritual side of him and the emotional, the maturity, all of that. I started seeing a shift in, the way he was speaking, the way he was responding to certain things.
Okay.
It was all different. It was all different. So he was going through his counseling and his stuff, and I let him, you do you.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't let him move back in yet or anything like that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
all right.
ma'am. No, ma'am. Couldn't have that. We couldn't have it. I did not, because I loved you, but I loved you from a distance.
Yes.
I had to let God do what God was going to do with him. And even so, when we started dating, he was not committed still.
Okay.
And, he wanted to go there with me. And I was like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't even have a commitment from you. You're not going to get your cake and eat it too, bro. Really?
Keep the cookies in the cookie jar.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, come on. We were married before and all that, but we're not married right now.
Right.
And I'm not going to go there with you. I need you to make a commitment to me.
Yeah.
And he said to me, and this is very important, he said, I am not going to commit to you until that residue and all of that is gone. And I was like, okay, well, you get rid of your residue. I'm going to go date Joe Schmo over here because he seems clean already. It's like, that's how you want to play. I'm going to let God keep doing what he going to do with you. But in the meantime, I'm going to do my life. I'm not going to sit and wait and pine after somebody who doesn't know if they want to be committed to me.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was my thinking. It wasn't a resident. Man, please. It wasn't my thinking was, you don't want to make a commitment to me, so I'm going to go do what I do, and you do what you do.
Yeah.
But the Lord spoke to me and said, did you hear what he said? I'm working with him. I'm dealing with him. You got to give me time
Grace.
to get all that off of him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That is good. And that's a very important key.
Yeah. And that he was honest enough to say that to me.
Yes.
Where 5 years ago, 10 years ago, he would never have said that to me.
Yeah.
So when we decided to literally make that firm commitment to be a couple, not a married couple, just a couple, there were some contingencies with that. I was like, bro, you're going to have to be transparent. You're going to have to realize there are certain things that's going to trigger some stuff for me. So you can't do those things. Yeah. But I don't want you walking around on eggshells, scared that you're going to do something to trigger me.
Right.
So we had to work through all of that.
Wow.
All of that. Yeah. And we're still, we started going to counseling together.
Okay.
We're still, and we're even as we get married on next Friday.
Next Friday?
We're going to exchange our wedding vows next Friday.
Wow.
Well, the wedding is in June, but we're going to exchange wedding vows next Friday.
Okay.
We have kept it 100% pure, the whole time we've been dating because we want God to bless our union.
Yes.
We want we want to be, so during the counseling, there are certain things that have come out, how we're going to manage finances, how we're going to do this, how, but one of the things that came out for me was, I need to understand, you want to be the king of my home. I need to be able to trust that you can run this kingdom, because I've been running my kingdom on my own.
Right. Before I surrender and submit.
Yes. I need to I need to be able to trust.
Yeah.
And so I don't need this. I need to see.
Lip service.
Yeah. I need to see. So, yeah.
Wow. So how long was that process from him being kicked out and all at the bottom of the barrel, going through counseling, therapy, and all of that till now? How long was that?
So that started in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
And woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
That all started in 2016, and even in my helping him during that time, I knew he was still talking to this woman.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what, God, that's your son. Yeah. I'm gonna do what you told me to do. I'm gonna love him. Yeah. With the heart you've given me, your heart, but I'm loving him from a distance. I'm not going to, give him everything of me like I did the first time. Yeah. And God was like, "That's good. I don't want you to. I didn't tell you to. Right. You're not his savior. I am."
Yes. Yes. So then, is it just your faith in God and your trust and belief that he's no longer dealing with this other woman?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know he ain't. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. So, like I said, when we started, when we got into the relationship, I said, you have to be completely certain. Now, before, this man would guard his phone like it was Fort Knox. I ain't lying. I could not, girl, I ain't never seen that. And that's when I knew something ain't right. Why are you,
Right. Yeah.
So now, he's completely transparent. I can pick up his phone at any point. And, and I asked him point blank, I said, have you had any conversations with her? And he said, no, I don't. He's like, that's gone. That residue is gone. Yeah. I don't want nothing to do with her. Amen. And I have to trust the God in him. Yes. And that's where I am. I have to trust that he's telling me the truth. I'm not going to say I sit up and go through his phone like, I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that. But, I remember it was Christmas last year. Last year? The year before last. And he was over. And it was getting late. And I was like, okay, you got to go home. It was almost midnight. Yeah. His phone rang. And he didn't answer it. So that triggered. Of course. Instantly. I was like, yeah. Why ain't you answering the phone? And he was like, that's my cousin. And he drunk. And he always does that every year. He calls and he's drunk. And I don't want to talk to no drunk man at no midnight.
Right. Well, today, anyway, you're going to have to.
Right. And I was livid, because it was like a flood came, memory came back to my head. Of course. And the next day, he came back and he was like, his cousin Corey called him. And they were talking and he was like, Corey was like, man, cousin such and such called me last night drunk. And blah, blah. He was like, tell my fiance because he called me. Proof. My alibi. I said, you went away and y'all got together and came over to the y'all ain't fooling nobody. Right. He was like, no, babe, seriously. So he was so scared that, that I was going to think the worst. Yeah. And I could see his fear and like, she's going to break up with me. And he was like, baby, here's my phone. You can go through it. I don't care.
Call the cousin back. Just call him and ask him if you called me.
That's what I said. I said, call him. Call him. He was like, I don't want to talk to him. I said, call him. He called him. Good. He called him.
As he should have.
Yeah.
As he should have.
Yeah. But I was like, I said, honey, you have to realize there's certain things that are going to trigger me. Yeah. You got to walk it out with me. Yeah. Whatever I need you to do to walk that out. Yeah. Just walk it out. Yeah. And do it. It might seem stupid to you. Right. It might seem like I'm not trusting you. Yeah. It's not that I don't trust you. I just need to. I still have some stuff, and God is still dealing with me. Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when there's infidelity inside of a relationship and you guys do get back together, a lot of times, be it the man or the woman, there's that lack of tenacity to be able to deal with stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, let me see the phone. Call it back.
Right.
You know, people
Right.
don't want to do it. Like, I ain't got to go through all that. If you don't trust me, then you just don't trust me.
Right.
But that's part of the healing. Like, I need that to gain trust back. You need to earn that trust back. So how else are you
Exactly.
going to earn it if I don't see it? If
Exactly.
you're not doing these things that help me to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that was his cousin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
And
yeah.
he's willing to do that.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So you guys, next Friday, huh?
Yeah, so we're going to exchange vows. Now, let me tell you, the healing process was not only with me
Mm-hmm.
and God working with me, he had to work with my family. You know, my
know
mother was like, you hurt my baby girl.
Yeah.
Why are you back?
Right.
Go away.
You ain't gonna get another chance.
Yeah. You know, my dad, and my
Yeah.
dad had a talk with him. He was like,
Yeah.
if Dana went, because he went to my dad and he apologized to my dad and said,
Wow.
I want my wife back. And my dad said, is that what she want? So he was like, I'm going to support you in whatever you do, but I'm going to tell you this, that stuff that happened before, it ain't happening again,
Yeah.
bro. And so him and my dad had a good talk. And
Good.
my dad was like, how can I not forgive this man when I've done my own stuff
Yeah.
and I've been forgiven?
Yes.
know.
Yes. That's good. That's really good. Well, I congratulate you for
Thank
that.
you.
Are you guys gonna, so in June, are you gonna have like a wedding at the church, or are you guys just gonna? Okay.
So we're going to get married. Our pastor's going to marry us. We're just going to say the vows. We'll have
Yeah,
a couple of people, come and witness and
Yeah.
but it's turning into more than I had planned. It's like turning into a wedding. I'm like,
Yeah.
we were just supposed to say our vows.
Right.
We've been celibate for 2 years.
Right.
I'm like, baby, this is turning into way more than I expected.
Right.
But yeah. So we're gonna do that next Friday, and then in June where family and friends will fly in and get to celebrate with us.
Right on.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that makes my heart smile because, I already know the possibilities that God can do.
Yeah.
And so even when there's something like, infidelity or anything, he can heal if you allow him to, if you have the will to, if you even want it.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, it's not going to happen. Because
Exactly.
he can't force his will upon us.
And you can't say, you forgive a person. Oh, I forgave him, but I don't want nothing to do with him. Then you haven't forgiven him.
Yes. Pin that.
Yeah,
'Cause that's
you haven't
good,
forgiven him.
Yeah.
I had to literally walk in forgiveness.
Yeah,
and
I
that
know what
meant
looks like.
still
Yeah.
talking to him,
Yes.
having compassion for him.
Yes.
Whatever it was,
Yeah.
I had to truly walk in forgiveness.
Yeah. And that's when you healed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I literally can have, lunch, dinner, jokes. I can have all of that with someone who's hurt me like that before. Because, I'm healed.
Right.
I can truly say I'm healed.
Yeah.
And there isn't anything that, he can say that'll trigger me to be like, make me upset or whatever. It's just like, oh, okay, you still doing you.
You still you. Yeah.
I have, see you later, big head. You
Right,
just kind of
right.
move on from it.
But people don't understand that. They don't understand.
Oh, I
how
know.
can you
Yes.
okay, you can forgive him, but that don't mean you got to get back together with him.
Yes,
But this is who God ordained me to be with.
yeah, and that
can't
makes it
stop
different.
that. Yeah.
Right, because you can't. You can go on off and be with somebody else if you want to.
Yeah.
But let me know how that work out.
Yeah.
y'all might not fight or
didn't.
anything like that. Right. It didn't, and it worked.
And look where you are.
Right.
We could have stopped all that years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you you coming on and being vulnerable and open to sharing that. And I pray that, somebody gleans from it that, even inside of infidelity, you can, your relationship, your marriage can heal. I'm going to stick with marriage in this particular case, that the marriage can heal. But you have to get the healing yourself, and you have to allow that other person to go through their healing and stay out the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm going
gotta
to
stay
say
out the
this.
way.
people have a stigma about counseling and therapy
Talk
because
about
they
it.
think that, I'm a Christian. I can go, God's going to, you know what?
Yeah, talk about it.
You need therapy too. I
Say
needed
that.
healing. I needed to talk to a therapist. I needed to go, and there was nothing wrong with that. The
Yes.
stigma that Christians can't go to a therapist, man, please
Yeah.
miss me with that. It
Yeah.
was the most helpful thing. I had,
Can
it was
that.
like I had, a tunnel, here's God, here's my therapist,
Yeah.
here's my
Absolutely.
pastor,
Absolutely.
it was that three chord, my pastor, my therapist, and my God,
Yes,
and
amen.
I'm telling you,
Pin
and that's
that.
how I healed.
Yeah.
That's how I healed. Honestly, that's how I healed.
That's good. I'm
Yeah.
definitely about to pin that. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So, well, I hope to have you back on. I hope you guys you'll be open to come back on and maybe even back on with your husband.
Yes,
and then
we
we can
would love
kind of
to.
follow up and see,
Where
how
we
things are going. And
Yeah.
I would love to hear, his part of his healing
Yeah.
and what he had to do. I think that
Oh, he'll
would
talk
be,
about it all day. He loves it.
I think that'd be important.
Yeah.
That'd be really important. So, well, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming on. I love you and I appreciate you, and we will just continue to pray for you and your marriage. Pray for you and
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I thank you so
Yes.
much for inviting me. It's truly an honor.
yes. Amen. Well, you have a good rest of the day, and we will talk soon.
Back to work.
Amen. Amen.